The idea of natural bodybuilding, training as a natural, are you natty or not, is such a hot topic. More recently than ever now, because of the rise of platforms such as TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and especially the fact you can build such an influential platform and make so much money just looking damn good naked, encourages some people to claim certain things that they're not. For example, to claim that this Greek body they've built is built purely naturally, only on eggs, chicken and rice and broccoli and meditation, 1 hour every morning, and gratitude sessions. More and more people genuinely do want to train naturally and don't want to touch any steroid drugs. And for those of you that do train naturally unenhanced, there is certain mistakes that you may be making that may be halting your progress. So today we're going to look at 5 of the biggest mistakes that you're potentially making and how to home in on these to strategically fix these to implement more success within your lifting career. Now, I am a natural bodybuilder and lifter myself. Oh, sounds very pompous. Oh, yes, I'm a natural, yes. Well, obviously you can tell. I look like a natural. But training as a natural, I've picked up over the 8-9 years of doing this at amateur levels, be it bodybuilding shows, photo shoots, and just operating at my best. I have picked up certain things that I believe, top 5 things that I do believe need to be extremely focused, homed in, and nailed down for you to be able to get as much potential and growth and progression as you physically can as someone that is not chemically enhanced. Taking advice from people who are heavily enhanced or people who are genetically gifted in certain areas, especially body parts, not to say that these people do not know what they're talking about, but potentially they could be passing information that is just not relevant or correct to your specific needs. Okay, so without further ado, let's look at the 5 mistakes that you potentially could be making, and let's see how we can firmly nail these down and get you some progress. The first most important factor is training. Now, I don't mean training programs. I'm more referring to the intensity of which one must adhere by. What does that mean? Well, mainly focusing on sets to failure and high intensity levels of RPE 8s to 7s now. Some of you might not know what an RPE scale is. I'll attach it on the screen here, but essentially it's just a level of intensity. As naturals, guys, enhanced, tend to get away a lot more with a lot of like volume pump exercises. They tend to respond quite well to it. As naturals, I argue, there needs to be even more emphasis on progressive overload and strength. Now, not strength as in maybe 1 rep max or 3 rep maxes, really a heavy, well-performed, tight set, 6 to 10 reps, for example. But the main thing we need to address is, are you training intensely enough? Is the set slight, or do they have a bit of to them? So I'm going to demonstrate one failure set, my working set, to you here, and what that looks like ultimately to failure. And you can compare that to see if really, when it comes to your sets, you can ask yourself, like maybe right now you're thinking, I do train bloody hard, I fucking give it. But sometimes with personal experience, until you've trained properly to failure, you don't really know what that feels like. So we're gonna take this set anyway here, and you're gonna see what set to failure actually looks like. Let's go. That wasn't me acting with them sex noises. That's more or less what your intense walking set should feel and look like and sound like. Another very important aspect, which most of you right now are going to think, oh, is it nutrition? Oh, I wouldn't have thought of that. That's such a surprising aspect. Well, I'm going to specify it more. Your post-workout nutrition. So I want to take a different angle than what most may take. What's the approach? So surprisingly, there's a lot of people who after their workout, I hear, anyway, from personal experience, they tell me that they're eating, they take protein after the workout, and some mad motherfuckers don't eat anything. So, for example, I train with a lot of people at night time. I know some who go to bed and don't eat anything after training. So that's mental. Get that out of your head for, you know, when you finish a workout, you need to replenish your glycogen straight away. Now, I don't care about science bros online saying, oh, well, you know, there's no hour window. In fact, it lasts for 7-8 hours. I don't want to give any chances. I want to, if I have deplete, I need to get glycogen back into the muscles straight away after I've depleted them from resistance training. And I want to give my body every chance to be able to do that. So your main focus post-workout, what people go wrong is they think protein. Carbohydrates is the main focus now. And some in-depth nutrition we can talk about, you know, even creatine uptake after training. Some actual fats, like monofats, is really good after training and stuff. But our main focus is carbohydrates, okay? Now, obviously, if you haven't hit your protein goals for the day, some sort of protein, a bit of fat with it, a balanced meal, great. But our main thing is carbohydrates, okay? So something high glycemic, so white stuff, you know, even like Rice Krispies is a great one. White rice, you know, potato. Mine can vary. Tonight, it just so happens to be, it's going to be beef steak and some potato. I know what you're thinking. Most of you are going to say frozen potato. Very organic of you. But I'm a busy guy with a busy family. I need to have vices like this at the ready. You know, the frozen stuff. People talk about, oh, it's processed. The processed just means it's chilled or frozen. It's not going to kill you. It's fucking fine. So, carbohydrates, that I may take cereal as well, but post-workout, it's really important, and guys slip up in this, and they may wait 3-4 hours until they eat something. Do not give your, as a natural, again, nutrition is your main weapon of choice. If you're not enhanced, nutrition is your main arsenal. You need to be able to get that right and be taking high quality food. So after training, make sure you're eating quite swiftly. Don't listen to science bros online where they're saying, well, up to 7 hours. If you're not eating for 7 fucking hours after training, there's something seriously wrong. Get it more or less within the hour if you can, or 2 hours wouldn't kill you, but within that short gap. But post nutrition, vital. Sleeping is also the most important thing that I cannot understate ever. Talk about sleeping being anabolic. Sleeping is so anabolic. Every hour you sleep, specifically over certain numbers like 6 to 7 hours, every hour your free testosterone is beginning to increase. It is so important, not just for recovery, but for hormone balances, testosterone increase, everything. Sleeping is very vital. Now I know, depending on your lifestyle or your routine, it's going to be very hard to get over a certain number of hours sleep. I have 2 small children, so it's hard for me to get optimally the 7 to 8 hours plus sleep. But if you can prioritize this, adequate sleep at least 7 to 8 hours plus every night, and where see fit, if you really do want to take this seriously, naps strategically placed throughout the day as well, maybe 1 nap each day, a power nap for an hour or so. The amount of recovery, size growth you will have, I cannot understand how phenomenal it will be. It will be like you are taking a amount of steroids, essentially. So, sleeping, the most important thing that you can focus on. Now, fuck off. I'll go to sleep. The next one is cardio, and it's important that you get a finite balance between not too much and not too little. Now, what do I mean by too much or too little? Well, especially during off season as a natural, you still want to retain an adequate amount of cardio, if not to ensure that your cardiovascular system is still adequate enough. For example, dealing with heavy sets, if you find yourself getting puffed out before hitting muscular failure, then your muscles never truly get to failure. Your cardiovascular system's failing. So you need to still ensure some form of adequate cardio to ensure that your cardiovascular system is up to scratch. However, too much on the opposite end, cardio, will cause high levels amount of cortisol. As you're not an enhanced lifter, you don't have the privilege and benefit of a superior chemistry system in terms of hormonal, so in terms of high testosterone. Cortisol, for example, will if that elevates over large amounts of cardio, you'll end up not recovering properly. You may burn some amount of muscle cells within your body. It's just not adequate enough if your goal as a natural lifter is to gain muscle. Keep the cardio to some sort of standard. I like a few times a week walking, but there's no need to sprint run several times a week. That will get in the way of your strength gains. The next one is drugs, steroids. And with toddlers, wrestling will also burn a large amount of calories. Now, if we put all those 4 aspects together, the sleep, the training, the nutrition, and the cardio, one of the most fundamental last things, now I believe even enhanced people should be doing this, but as a natural, I argue, especially if you want to take your training really seriously, you need to be logbooking everything. Now, I know I've had previous videos on this, but it's so important because a natural, you really need to emphasize the aspect of progressive overload. That needs to be fundamentally firm in your training. You need to be nailing that idealism of progressively increasing your weight over time in an effective rep range, right? If it's not a D or 2, and if you're sticking around certain volume base that some enhanced people do get away with, enhanced guys do tend to develop a lot greater from just maybe medium weight, lighter volume stuff. As a natural, you do need to work a bit harder in terms of, you need to look at the most effective way going, okay, what can I recover from? Maybe I can't recover from heaps of volume. I can only recover from short working sets, meaning your intensity needs to increase. So you need to have a foundation of some form of goal of strength increases consistently throughout. That's going to build you the foundation of dense growth and also being able to balance the idea of recovering effectively and your frequency being able to hit these body parts 2 to 3 times a week. So logbooking will allow you to effectively track your progress. And this is all a scientific experiment with all these elements we're putting in all these aspects, right? We're trying to essentially write down every little thing we're doing. If something goes wrong, we can see in the logbook why it's went wrong. And I mean really accurately tracking everything. If you feel shit going into a leg session, for example, and that leg session turns out to be shit, write it down. If you decide to change the exercise up, or say that you switch it around, you do leg extensions first instead of squats, make sure that's written down. If you did 7 reps on 140 kilo squat, make sure then that's written down. Next week effectively, you should be able to maintain that or do a bit better. And there needs to be some form of paper evidence of some sort of linear progression. So logbooking's really important. And for naturals, again, at your arsenal, you're not chemically enhanced, so at your arsenal, you have certain things: your sleep, your nutrition, your intensity of training, and things like actually logbooking. So you need all these tick boxes very firmly ticked down to ensure that you are getting the most out of your training. Very easy to listen, and I did it in my early days, to listen to guys who are pros, who are enhanced. And I used to look at the workouts that they were doing, and I was like, fuck, he's really big, she's really big, fuck, how to do it? I'm gonna do what he does. And then you find out that it doesn't really work for you. And that's because, well, A, those people are enhanced. So their ability to build muscle is much more greater than what mine is. Now, people say, oh, a small amounts of, encouragement that would do with steroids. It's a massive difference. It is night and day difference. So it's really important to also listen to maybe people that's more relevant to your needs and developments. So someone that maybe is natural themselves, who maybe isn't as genetically gifted as others, and maybe how to work hard to build certain parts, they may hold some nuggets of information that you can eat like a chicken nugget that will be effective for you. So that's the 5 mistakes anyway that if you're doing it should be addressed. In conclusion, you need to be trained to failure intensity. Give or take, if your development is very lacking or it's next to entry level, you might be able to get away with a couple reps shy of failure for the first year or so. But more or less, training to failure, that means that you can actually track things. 2, you need to make sure overall nutrition's good, but you need to make sure that the nutrition before and after training as well. I find that's the most common thing people slip up on. The sleep needs to be adequate, as we discussed. Cardio needs to be adequately balanced as well. Can't do too much, because again, you've got finite resources to deal with when you're natural. Your recovery levels are not as good as people enhanced, so you need to be able to balance that and juggle it. And of course, everything needs to be fucking written down. Anyway, I've been Carl from New York Den. If you liked the video, please do like and subscribe. I don't want to turn into one of these beggars of YouTube. Please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. But it does really help me if you like these videos, and I do put a lot of these informational videos out, and I will continue to keep doing so. But please comment below if you're making any of these mistakes, or if there's anything I've missed I haven't thought about. Please do comment below. I'd love to hear it. But anyway, until the next time, Carl from New York Den. Have a good night, my natural friend.